Okay, we've looked at the first and second conjugation present tense. We've looked at the first and second conjugation future tense. And now we go to what's called the imperfect tense. In English, this is sometimes referred to as the progressive past. For example, I was running. Also, I used to run. I was running. I used to run. She was thinking. We were eating. They used to eat at the park, right? The progressive past. It's understood that the activity is over, but there's not a sense of, definite ending. So for example, the difference between she was running and she ran, right? So the imperfect is that sense of action that's ongoing in the past. Let's look at the three paradigms here. So present using lao do. This is a first conjugation verb looking at how it works in the present, in the future, and in the imperfect. So laudo, laudas, laudat, laudamus, laudatis, laudant. Okay, we've worked with that. Laudabo, laudabis, laudabit, laudabimus, laudabitis, laudabunt. Okay? And now we come to the imperfect. And you see we've got the lauda, and then we add the imperfect endings, bam, bas, bat, bamus, batis, bant. Pretty straightforward. And this works the same way with the second conjugation as well. Okay, so let's take a look. Laudabam, I was praising. I used to praise. Laudabas, you were praising. Laudabat, he or she or it was praising. Laudabamus, we were praising. Laudabatis, you were praising. Laudabant, they were praising. Okay, second conjugation. Habebam, I had. Habebas, you had. Habebat, he had. Habebamus, we had. Habebatis, you plural had. Habebant, they had. Pretty straightforward, not too difficult here. Let's put it to work and see how it goes. Videbam, okay, so the verb is videre, to see. Video, I see. Videbam, I was seeing. Now a point that I make back here is that often, this is up in the first paragraph, often when it comes to translating passages in the Gospels from Latin, often the imperfect tense in English will be translated into the perfect tense. Let's look at an example here then. Let's go back to this example. Videbam satanam decelo cadentem. I was seeing Satan cadentem falling decelo from heaven. Usually I think we're going to translate that, I saw Satan falling from heaven. I saw Satan falling from heaven. But the literal translation would be, I was seeing Satan cadentem falling de cello. Okay? Stabant, that's the verb stare, to stand. Sto, I stand. Stabant, we've got the B-A-N-T ending there, so they were standing. Stabant, juxta, that's a preposition that we've seen before. Stabant, they were standing, juxta, next to crucem. Now juxta, remember prepositions will take either the ablative or the accusative case. Juxta takes the accusative case. So even though we haven't studied the declension group that the Latin noun for cross is in, we haven't studied that declension group yet, we can just assume that crucem is in the accusative case. Stabant, they were standing, juxta, next to, crucem, the cross. Docebat, docere, to teach, right? So he, she, or it was teaching. Eos, them, okay? So he was teaching them in synagoga, ablative case there, synagoga. He was teaching them in the synagogue, right? So we have the verb docebat, so he was teaching. We know from the context it's a he was teaching. And then in synagoga, in the ablative, because it gives us information about how the action of that verb was being carried out, okay? So he was teaching them in the synagogue. 4, Maria stabat ad monumentum. Monumentum, obviously very much related to our English word monument. Monument comes from monumentum. Here the better translation would be tomb. Maria stabat, was standing. So the verb there is stare. Maria stabat ad monumentum. Maria was standing at the tomb. Maria was standing by the tomb. Okay? Number 5. Vocabant eum. Vocabant eum. Vocare, to call. They were calling him, Zachariah. Right? So they were calling Zacharias. Okay? Vocabant, they were calling. 6. Magnificabant Deum Israel. Bant, third person plural. They were magnifying, they were glorifying Deum, the God Israel, the God of Israel. They were glorifying, they were magnifying the God of Israel. Dabat illis potestatem. Dabat. He, she, it gave. We know from the context it's he. He gave illis to them potestatem, power. He gave them power. Et docebat eos in parabolis. Parabolis, here the best translation is parable. And he was teaching them in parables. And he was teaching them in parables. Docebat. Number 9, another docebat. Docebat de navicula turbas. Docebat, he was teaching. De navicula, from a boat. Notice that our word navy is close to that. Turbas, crowds, audiences. He was teaching crowds from the boat. I think the English translation would usually be he taught the crowd from a boat, something like that. So you don't get literal word-for-word translations in most cases, but the literal reading was, of this phrase, he was teaching the crowds from a boat. Number 10, habebat duos filios. So he had, or she had, third person singular, he, she, or it had, habebat duos filios, right? So he had 2 sons. We isolate the phrase, we don't know whether it's a man or a woman, so he or she had 2 sons. 11, daimonia habebant. Daimonia habebant. They had demons. They had demons. Okay? So videbam, number 1, I was seeing, literally. Number 2, stabant, they were standing. Stare is the infinitive form of that verb. Docebat, he, she, or it was teaching. Number 4, stabat, he, she, or it was standing. Vocabant, they were calling. Magnificabant, they were magnifying, they were praising. Dabat, he, she, or it was giving. Docebat, he, she, or it was teaching. Docebat again, number 9. Number 10, habebat, he, she, or it had. Number 11, habebant, they had.